The FIFA World Cup is the biggest sporting event on planet Earth. More people watch the final than the Super Bowl, the Olympics, and the Champions League combined. But here's the thing, most people watching don't actually understand how the tournament works. And with 2026, everything has changed. 48 teams, a brand new format, more matches than ever before. If you're confused, you're not alone. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how this tournament works. And trust me, once you get it, you will never watch the World Cup the same way again. Let's start with the basics. What is the World Cup? Every 4 years, the best football teams from around the world come together to compete for one trophy. It's that simple. But getting to the World Cup, that is a whole different story. We have 211 countries that are members of FIFA, but only 48 of them make it to the actual tournament. That is less than 25%. So simply qualifying is a massive achievement. Now, the 2026 World Cup is special for one big reason. It's the first time we have 48 teams. Previously, we had 32 teams, which worked perfectly. But FIFA decided bigger is better, so they expanded. And this expansion changes everything about how the tournament is structured. The 2026 World Cup is being hosted by 3 countries: USA, Canada, and Mexico. 104 matches across 16 cities. It is the largest World Cup in history. So how do these 48 teams actually compete? Here's the thing that surprises most people. The World Cup does not start with knockout matches. It starts with a group stage. This is where the 48 teams are divided into 12 groups. Each group has 4 teams. And here is the key. Every team plays every other team in their group exactly once. So if you are in Group A, you will play 3 matches, one against each of your group opponents. One match, you win, you get 3 points. One match ends in a draw, both teams get 1 point. One match you lose, you get 0 points. Points are everything in the group stage because they determine who advances. Now this is where it gets interesting. At the end of the group stage, the top 2 teams from each group automatically move forward. That's 24 teams right there. But we need 32 teams for the knockout stage. So where do the other 8 come from? This is the part that confuses almost everyone. The best third-place teams from each group also advance. There are 12 groups, 12 third-place teams. But only the best 8 of those 12 move on. Now when I say best, what does that actually mean? It means the third-place teams with the most points. So if you finish 3rd in your group but you got 4 points, you have a really good chance of going through. If you finish 3rd with only 3 points, it is not guaranteed. This creates a fascinating dynamic because teams in 3rd place are not just playing for pride. They are fighting to be one of the top 8 third-place finishers. But wait, there's more complexity. What if teams are tied on points? This happens all the time. So FIFA has a system of tiebreakers, and this is where things get really detailed. The first tiebreaker is goal difference. That means the difference between the goals you scored and the goals you conceded. For example, if you scored 5 goals and conceded 2, your goal difference is +3. If you scored 3 and conceded 5, your goal difference is -2. So goal difference separates teams that are tied on points. But what if they are still tied? Then we look at goals scored. The team that scored more goals advances. And if they are still tied, this is where it gets crazy. We look at head-to-head results. That means if the 2 tied teams played each other, whoever won that match goes through. If that match was a draw, we go deeper. Then we look at fair play. This is the disciplinary record. Yellow cards, red cards, the team with fewer cards advances. And if everything, and I mean everything, is still tied, the final tiebreaker is the FIFA World Ranking. So your ranking before the tournament actually matters. Now some people might think this is too complicated, but here's the thing. These tiebreakers make the group stage incredibly intense. Every goal matters. Every yellow card matters. You cannot take your foot off the gas. Now we have 32 teams advancing to the knockout stage. This is where things get simple again. Single elimination. Win and you stay. Lose and you go home. No second chances. No points, no draws, just survival. The knockout stage starts with the round of 32, then the round of 16, then the quarterfinals, then the semifinals, and finally the World Cup final. Each match is 90 minutes long, 2 halves of 45 minutes. If the match is tied after 90 minutes, we go to extra time. That is an additional 30 minutes, split into 2 15-minute halves. If it is still tied, we go to penalties. Penalties are the most intense moment in sports. 5 players from each team take turns shooting from the penalty spot. If it is still tied after 5 shots each, we go to sudden death. 1 shot each until someone misses. It is pure chaos. It is pure drama. Now let's talk about the schedule because the 2026 World Cup is massive. With 48 teams and 104 matches, the tournament lasts almost 5 weeks. The group stage takes about 12 days. The knockout stage then runs for about 3 weeks. This is not like the Super Bowl where everything is one day. The World Cup is an event. You watch it every day. You plan your life around it. That is what makes it so special. Now here's the part that many people do not realize. The World Cup is not just about football. It is about culture. It is about nations coming together. Countries that do not normally interact suddenly face each other on the pitch. This creates stories that you cannot predict. David versus Goliath, the underdog who shocks the world, the veteran who finally gets their moment. Every World Cup has a narrative, and now with 48 teams, there are even more stories to follow. Something you might not know is that the 2026 format changes the path to the final. In the old format with 32 teams, a team had to win 7 matches to become champion. In the new format with 48 teams, a team must now win 8 matches. That extra match makes a huge difference. More fatigue, more injuries, more opportunities for upsets. It is harder to win this tournament than ever before. The champion in 2026 will have earned it more than any champion in history. If you are new to football, you might be wondering why draws exist in the group stage. In American sports, overtime and shootouts are used to avoid ties in the regular season. But in football, draws are common. They are actually seen as a legitimate result. A draw against a strong team is a good result. A draw against a weak team is a bad result. That is how the strategy works. Teams do not always go for the win. Sometimes they play for the draw because 1 point is better than 0 points. This is very different from American sports where you always try to win. And that tactical difference is what makes football fascinating. Now let me give you a fun fact. The most goals ever scored in a single World Cup match was in 1982 when Hungary beat El Salvador 10-1. 10 goals in one match. But also the most boring match ever? That was in 1990 when Italy played England and it finished 0-0. 0 goals. Can you imagine watching that for 90 minutes? And this is exactly why the format matters. Some matches are incredible. Some are terrible. That is football. The 2026 World Cup also introduces something new. More rest between matches. Previously, teams played every 3 or 4 days. With 48 teams, the schedule is spread out more. Teams get more recovery time. This should lead to better performances and fewer injuries. The players will be fresher and the quality of football should be higher. That is the theory anyway. Here's something else to consider. The World Cup only happens once every 4 years. That means players only get a few chances to win it. Most players never win it at all. Some of the greatest players in history never won the World Cup. Lionel Messi finally won it in 2022. Cristiano Ronaldo has never won it, and he is one of the greatest to ever play the sport. So when you watch the World Cup, you are watching history unfold. You are watching players who will never get this chance again. That is what makes it emotional. Now let me ask you a question. Who do you think will win the 2026 World Cup? Argentina? Brazil? France? England? Or maybe someone unexpected. That is the beauty of the World Cup. Nobody knows. The favorites can fall. The underdogs can rise. In 2022, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina. In 2018, Croatia made the final. In 2014, Costa Rica reached the quarterfinals. Anything can happen. Now, let's bring it all together. The 2026 World Cup format in a nutshell. 48 teams, 12 groups, top 2 from each group advance. Then the best 8 third-place teams advance to make 32 teams. Then single elimination all the way to the final. Win 8 matches and you become world champion. That is the path. That is the journey. It takes nearly 5 weeks. It is grueling, it is unforgiving, and it is the greatest show on earth. But here's the thing. Understanding the format is just the beginning. Once you know how it works, you can truly appreciate the drama. You know why that team is parking the bus. You know why that player is time wasting. You know why that goal celebration is so emotional. The format creates the tension. The format creates the stories, and that is why we watch. So the next time you watch a World Cup match, remember this. Every pass matters. Every goal matters. Every point matters. And by the end of the tournament, only one nation will lift that trophy. Only one nation will call themselves world champions. And for that nation, it is everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to understand more about football, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We make complex football topics simple and fun. Hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Leave a comment below telling us which team you think will win the 2026 World Cup. We read every comment. The 2026 World Cup is going to be unforgettable. And now you understand exactly how it works. So get ready, because see you in the next one.